Asker and the Hurum Peninsula are the land of the East Norwegian Fjords. Yes, there are fjords in eastern Norway too. They are a different kind, and we are going to show you what you can see on a day trip through the region. This is also where Xplore Norway is based, and we almost never see a tourist here. And that is the strange part. These fjords are shallow and warm. Warm enough to actually swim in, an hour from Oslo. By the end, you will have a full day loop that almost no visitor knows about. Warm water you can swim in, a polar ship that took 100 years to come home, and a viewpoint you will not find on any hiking app. So start in Oslo, and exit the motorway at Holmen, and follow the old road. You will pass the Asker Museum. Further turn right and follow the tree alley. Here you pass Skaugum. This is where the Crown Prince family lives. You cannot see much from the road, but you will see the guards. The same as at the palace in Oslo. The estate belongs to the royal family, not the state, so you keep your distance. We did get inside once, at a press event that was later shown on TV. A friend of the channel runs a small local news outlet, and needed a camera guy for the afternoon. Then you pass Semsvannet. There are countless lakes around here, and this is just one of them. It is a bit more central than the others, so it has more parking and paths, and there is even a cafe. That is really the only reason it gets busy. After that, you pass Bergvang gård, a farm which can be visited on weekends. You can see more about it in our day trips from Oslo video. Then you reach Asker Center. It is one of the wealthiest municipalities in Norway, which you will notice from the shops. That is about all there is to say about it. The place is mostly for the locals, not really for tourists, unless you need to buy something. As you can see, the tour is easiest done with a car, but as we are very close to Oslo and Drammen, there are a lot of bus lines if you don't have a car. Now continue towards Dikemark, follow the old road next to the motorway. Dikemark used to be Norway's leading psychiatric asylum at the beginning of the 20th century. The last section of psychiatry closed down only a few years ago. The old buildings house today some companies and many artists. There are some beaches along the lakes in the area. The lake around Dikemark was previously also used for ice production. The whole Asker region was into the ice business until fridges were invented and became widespread. An anecdote says that Churchill would only have his gin with ice from Asker. Now continue towards Heggedal. Right after Solberg, you will see a mountain with a big cliff. This is Bjørnåsen. The cliffs are very popular amongst local climbers. Then you arrive in Heggedal, home of Xplore Norway. This is a small village, which became very popular during the last 10 years. At the beginning of the 20th century, there were several factories in the area. The last one is still standing next to the station, and the lake Kistefosdammen. This is also where the train room is located, Norway's largest model railroad influencer. How can there be two big YouTubers in that small place? Simple, it's the same guy. So pass the village, and then continue to Vollen. Today, Vollen is a quiet harbor with a museum and a few boats. But around the turn of the last century, this was where wealthy Christiania families came for the summer. The city was an hour away by steamer, and people would come out here to their cottages, to bathe, and to escape the town. That is worth remembering as you drive this coast. The idea of coming out here to swim is not new. People have been doing it for well over 100 years. Vollen has one more claim. This is where the polar ship Maud was built, back in 1917. Amundsen had her made at Christian Jensen's yard, right where the museum stands now. When he launched her, he did not smash champagne on the hull. He smashed a block of ice. Remember the name Maud. We meet her again at the other end of this trip, and she took the long way round to get there. Next is Slemmestad. You will recognize it from the big concrete silo, left over from the cement works that closed in 1989. What is more interesting is the ground here. It is full of fossils, over 400 million years old if you know where to look. There is a small geology center that will point you to the spots. Both Vollen and Slemmestad are connected to Aker Brygge by express boat, and there is a coastal path between the two. If you continue, you reach Nærsnes, another small village along the coast. From the 1850s, it was a big hub for the ice export. In winter, they cut ice from the ponds here and shipped it out. When refrigeration came, the trade died, and Nærsnes went quiet. There would be a coastal trail between here and Slemmestad, but there is an ongoing legal dispute between some landowners and the municipality. You get these all around the Oslo Fjord, wherever private property meets the public right of access. The argument is nearly always about how much of the land around a house stays private before you reach the shore. This is basically what Allemannsretten looks like in a densely populated area. Then we continue along to coast towards Båtsstø. Let me give you an idea of how few tourists come here. We filmed for a whole day in the middle of high season. In that entire day, we counted 3 cars we could clearly say were foreign tourists. 2 German motorhomes and 1 French car, maybe 2 more vans, but we could not read the plates. 3 in a full day. Meanwhile, Lofoten, at the same time of year, is famous for motorhomes lined up bumper to bumper, and this place is less than an hour from Oslo. After Båtsstø and Åros, you finally arrive in Sætre. Beside the village center with harbor front and shops, Sætre is known from something else, Chemring Nobel. It has been making explosives here since 1876, and it still does. Right now they want to expand, because NATO needs far more ammunition than it did a few years ago. The plan is a new plant in the forest above the town, and a lot of locals are furious about it. Partly because of the forest they would lose. Partly because the fjord here is already in trouble, and this does not help. There has even been a protest camp up in the valley. Right after Sætre is also Sandspollen, a small bay with some beaches. The coast trail passes there. From there you can also see the Oscarborg fortress. In an alternate timeline, you would be arriving at Oslo Hurum Airport right now. That is a story in itself, and it is the kind of thing the app is full of, so go and download it. When continuing to Storsand, where the coast road begins, in Storsand there is also the viewpoint of Bjørnåsen, which is probably the further you can see Oslo from. While you are on the coastal road, you will start to notice something, especially on a clear day. The light. It is that strong, open sea light, but here on a fjord. That is what makes the Eastern Fjords different. In the west, the mountains are so high that they block the reflections from the sea. Here the land is low and open, so the light lies flat across the water for hours. It is the reason painters settled along this coast, at Holmsbu, and further along at Åsgardstrand. After a few kilometers along the coast, you reach Filtvet. There is the old lighthouse, first lit in 1840. It does not actually work anymore. When they automated it in 1985, they put a small modern light on a concrete pillar right in front of the old tower, and that is the one doing the job now. The old building is protected, and there is a little museum inside, open in summer. It sits by one of the best beaches on this side of the fjord. Next to it is Villa Malla, the closest thing here to a proper beach hotel. Tofte is the most southern point of the peninsula. The actual southern point is Østnestangen, which is a small hike away on the coast trail. But the real attraction here is the wreck of the Maud. This is where she ended up. After Amundsen, she was sold, renamed, and she sank in the Canadian Arctic in 1930. She lay just below the surface for about 80 years. Then a local property developer decided to bring her home. Plenty of people thought that was a foolish idea. But she was raised in 2016, towed back across the Atlantic, and in 2018, she sailed into the Oslo Fjord again, 101 years after she left. She has been parked here at Tofte ever since. What happens to her next is not really known. If that changes and a proper museum opens, we will make a video about it. Then the road turns inland, and you have to leave the main road to reach Holmsbu. It is the typical postcard coastal village, white houses and a guest harbor, best on a warm summer day. Artists discovered it long ago, and it is still an artist's place. That is really the reason to come. There is a gallery of Henrik Sørensen's work worth a look if that is your thing. Just outside the center there is a spa hotel, next to the art museum. One honest thing, if you like it here and want to stay longer, you will struggle. Most hotels are near Asker Center, and there are very few campsites and no real tourist infrastructure. The few things there are for the locals. If you travel by motorhome, the no camping signs have not really appeared yet, so try to keep it that way. So treat this as a day trip. And the biggest bummer, there is no fjord cruise which goes through both fjords. There are boats tours on the Oslo Fjord, but the Fjord is basically a touristical desert. Just north of Holmsbu is Knivsfjellet. It is probably the best viewpoint over the Fjord. Getting there is not obvious. It is one of those hikes that is not on ut.no, so most people never find it. Park at Hyggen Stadium, that is what it is called on the map, though the signs on the ground say the sports club, IF Hyggen. From there, follow the signs towards Semsvannet until you reach the viewpoint. We had to work out the route ourselves, so there is a GPX track in the description to save you the trouble. A bit further north is the Svelvikstrømmen, a narrow strait that cuts the Fjord in two. It is only about 180 meters wide here, narrower than the Narrow Fjord. But unlike the Narrow Fjord, the biggest ships pass right through it, because this is the way into the port of Drammen. Drammen is the main car import port in Norway, so the ships coming through are huge car carriers, most of them full of electric cars these days. Getting them through here is not easy. The strait sits on an old glacial ridge, so it is shallow, and they have been dredging it for nearly 300 years just to keep it open. Even now, it is only about 12 meters deep. The depth decides how heavily a ship can be loaded, and on top of that, the current is one of the strongest in the country. So the big ships get towed through by tugs, and they have to time it with the tide. So why not just build a bridge? Because of those same ships. To let them pass, a bridge would need around 50 to 60 meters of clearance, as high as the electricity masts already strung across the strait. Picture that. A giant, high bridge dropped right into the middle of a small white wooden village. They have actually looked into it, and unsurprisingly, the locals were not keen. So instead, the strait is home to Norway's shortest car ferry. Now continue north towards Hyggen. This is the Coastal Panorama Road. That is not its official name, it is really just Road 2684, but that is hardly a name worth using. On that road you will have great view over the fjord. Hyggen is a small village at the fjord. There are some beaches and a coastal trail, but Hyggen is mostly known in Norway for the apple juice which is produced here. Then you reach Lahell, where you will find E134. You can either drive back to Oslo from here, to go to Drammen, and finish your day along the river there. If you like this video and want to know more about the land of Eastern Fjords, then write in the comments, because it's our home turf here. And in the meantime, these 4 videos are exactly for you.